Hey guys, Stamina here. I'm going to be doing my major pick'ems. I've put a lot of thought into this and I wanted to make a video on it as when I did it on stream it wasn't really that thorough, so I want to give a lot of my reasoning. So to start, I'm going to show you guys a website I will be using to help me um, guide myself through this. This website predicts the matchups based on who wins. So I'll use this to kind of show you my reasoning. This might not be one for one, but I think it's gonna be pretty close to what will end up happening. So, all right, let's get into it. So, coming into my first pick right away, I'm gonna go with my 03. I think the 03 pick for me is the easiest one to make, and I'm going to put Renegades there at 03. Okay. Now, Renegades has spent a decent bit of time in Europe, and I think they're a much better team than people might give them credit for. I just think that this portion of the major is a bit too stacked, and the way the matchups are going to work out for them, it's just not going to favor them. So let me break down why I think these guys would be the 03. So looking at the first round matchups, okay, we have Renegades and Fours. Right then and there, I think Fours is going to take that, which is going to lead Renegades into an Eternal Fire Renegades matchup. I think this game is going to be the really big deciding moment, but I think Eternal Fire is just too good for Renegades, and they're going to knock them down 0-2. At this point, you're going to see 9Z and Renegades, and actually in this situation, I could see a world where Renegades would win, but I just trust way too much in Lucan and DGT to get this done. Their firepower on 9Z is actually pretty crazy, and I just think that their style of play is going to be too much for the Aussies to handle. I think at the end of the day, Australian Counter-Strike still hasn't really kind of pushed its way to be like a European style yet. I don't think they've spent enough time there, so I think 9Z will be too much for them to handle, and so that will determine them at 0-3. With that being said, my other 0-3 team is IHC, but because I really can't trust Imperial, I don't want to take IHC here, and also there's a world where Complexity could also lose to IHC. I'm hoping that's not the case, but with that being said, that's why I don't really want to take IHC. I think they're just as poised to go 0-3, but even then, if you're looking at the two on paper, if they were to meet up somehow, some way, Renegades actually got 2-0'd by IHC the last time they played. So, with all that being said, that is why that will be my 0-3 pick, okay? Next, I'm going to do probably the hardest pick, but I put a lot of thought into this. Originally, I was just going to do pick'ems how I normally do it. I was going to go 3-0 team being a team that is like a fringe team. Like they might not even make playoffs, but like if they do, it's going to be some crazy run. Just so I get all my proper picks right. But I did a lot of thought into this, and I'm going to go with the boys over at ents. These guys have been playing extremely well, and they're peaking at the proper time. So let me get into why their matchups actually make a lot of sense for a 3-0. Starting off, they're going to play 9Z right out the gate, and I think this is going to be a game that ents just outclasses them in. It could actually get close if they show up, slow or whatever the case might be, but I think for the most part, ents is just a better team than 9Z overall, so I'm taking ents here, okay? So then, based on all my other matchups, I have Outsiders winning their initial matchup against MIBR, and that's actually going to put ents versus Outsiders. This is actually a really interesting game because Outsiders could be good enough to actually win this, but based on everything we've seen in recent time, I really just think that ents will pull this through, and this is a pretty favorable matchup for them. So with this, I'm going to go ents to go 2-0 here, and then coming into this final game, they're going to get drawn against Fours, who I think will beat Bad News Eagles and also beat Renegades round 1. So if this is the scenario that we're seeing, ents versus Fours in a best of 3, all recent information points towards ents really being the better team here. And I don't even think it's that close. I think ents would probably 2-0. I could see Fours taking their map pick, but I think ents will take this. I think Fours has, some inexperienced guys, and They just haven't been playing their best Counter-Strike recently, so I'm going to take ents at 3-0. As you can see here, the other matchup is Astralis G2, which really makes me want to pick one of these two teams, but in a studio environment where there's not that much pressure, I think ents is actually going to be the favorite out of these three. I think there's a world where G2 is supposed to be the favorite, and that rains on them a little bit. I think Astralis is also going to have a lot of pressure to make it through, of course, for obvious reasons. So there's not really a whole lot of pressure on ents. Like, they could bomb out of this stage, and like, their org's not dropping them. They're not looking to make roster changes per se. That's not going to happen, obviously. But for that reason, I'm going to take ents at 3-0 here. So now we get into our picks. I'm going to go right ahead with my lock picks right away. I think G2 is a lock. I don't really think that needs too much explaining, so I'm going to put them here. I also think Astralis is going to be a lock. These guys have shown time and time again that they're one of the best teams to ever touch the major circuit ever. And, I mean, I can't go against Glaive. He's the greatest in-game leader of all time, in my opinion, in terms of just his performance at the top. Some people would argue maybe Kerrigan, but I put Glaive there. The next team I have going through as a lock is Vitality. Vitality is one of those teams where I don't think they're poised for like a deep major run. Hopefully they can come into better form as the stages go on, but I don't know that they're really going to be like a top 4 team this major. With that being said, you still just can't see almost any team on this list punishing Zywoo and punishing Dupree for the aggressive plays that they're going to make. And Apex is also going to lead by example here. So for me, I think Vitality is for sure a lock pick. And then I have pretty much no other lock picks left. I actually think it gets really dicey. So let me explain my reasoning as to why I think anybody else will go through. Coming back in here, showing you the initial matchups and everything we go. I actually have Liquid losing first round. I have Renegades losing, IHC losing, Complexity losing, MIBR losing, Spirit losing, and Eternal Fire losing, okay? So what that's going to actually lead us to is these 1-0 matchups, which for me, if Force gets to 2-0, I would have to say that they're going to make it through. Now, this could very well be Bad News Eagles' game here. But I just think that Force is actually like a little bit of a sleeper team in this stage. Not that many people are giving them that much respect. So I think Force will actually end up 2-0. In the scenario that they end up 2-0, I think that they're going to win, especially if they get this MIBR matchup. I have them getting this MIBR matchup by way of Spirit. I really don't believe in Spirit that much. I think especially with the situation surrounding their coach and just like the couple young guys that they have. Don't get me wrong, Dexter, Chopper, and Magix are incredibly good players, but I've been scrimming against MIBR for the last 6 months now, playing against them in officials. These guys are locked in. They don't have any issues coming in. They don't have any pressure. They brought the MIBR brand back to the major. All the fans are behind them. Fury is still the fan favorite for Brazil, so there's not that much pressure on MIBR. MIBR could also bomb out of the stage, and people would still be happy that they were here. So they've got 4 riflers who are just playing out of their mind right now. They have a lot of momentum, and they're just not scared. And I don't think Spirit is quite in that same boat. So I have MIBR winning this. And so both of these teams actually bring me a lot of pain because 4 is beating BNE, right? In this state, or sorry, 4 is beating MIBR here is what I have happening, and Astralis beating BNE here really sucks because I thought BNE could make it through, but actually based on how these matchups come out, I think MIBR will take this, and I'm gonna put my money on MIBR. Outsiders is another one of those teams where it's kind of weird right now. I have them actually losing here in the 1-1 matchup to Liquid. I think that Liquid is probably barely the better team right now, but I think with everything surrounding Outsiders, studio environment, Elige, NAF, and OC, I think Liquid has what it takes to be the better team in this matchup, and so I have them going through at this point. This is going to put Outsiders in the 1 and 2 predicament, but they're going to draw Imperial, and I'm just not an Imperial fan. Not that I hate them, but in the sense that I don't think that they can really make a deep run here. I think they have a lot to prove, as they've got a very old squad, and all of Brazil wants them to do well, but I just don't think they can get it done. So here I'm gonna have Outsiders winning, and yeah, I think this is gonna knock Imperial out, unfortunately. So coming down to here, we get the 2-2 matchup. Outsiders Spirit. I think pressure on the line, overall skill power. Sorry, Yakindar poised to maybe even leave after this event. He's gonna just be. He's just gonna be trying to kill everybody. I just think Outsiders is a better team here. I can't really see a way around it where Spirit would win this. So yeah, and then that brings me obviously to Liquid. I have them losing to Vitality. I don't think that's that crazy. Liquid could beat Vitality, but it'd be the same matchup either way. Vitality would play 9Z. So at the end of the day, this matchup doesn't mean that much to me. Whoever wins this doesn't necessarily make the other team not qualify. Like, I'm pretty sure if I put Vitality or Liquid to win this, it's Vitality Spirit. Yeah, so it doesn't really change too much. So for me, I have Vitality winning this. This will send Liquid to 2-2 versus 9Z. I think this is going to end 9Z's streak. They had a nice run. They got 2 wins, but that's the end of it for them. And I have MIBR taking this versus BNE. So my final 8 end up being ents, G2, Astralis, Fours, Vitality, Liquid, Outsiders, MIBR. Now, I know that's maybe not right in there with what a lot of other people might have at the moment, but, you know, I think coming into this, I originally wasn't sure on a few teams. I wasn't sure on Bad News Eagles, and I wasn't sure on Eternal Fire. Now, you know, getting here, seeing everything that's going on with like Spirit, right? Seeing everything that's going on with like Imperial and their coaching situation. Outsiders look like a team that might not even make it through, but with their firepower and their experience, I just can't see them not making through. MIBR is probably the biggest toss-up in this group. I think most people would call me crazy for this pick. At the end of the day, if Fours doesn't make it through and another team does, I'm not going to be super like upset. I think these two are both like the fringe teams, but I think these 5 teams, G2, Astralis, Vitality, Liquid, and Outsiders, those are lock picks. I think those 5 surely should make it through. And if any of them don't, they're probably going to be looking down the barrel of like roster changes and whatnot, unfortunately. And then I have Renegades as my 0-3. I think this is a pretty safe 0-3. Some people might argue I should take like Imperial or Complexity. I have too much faith in the Americas team, so I'm going to stick with Renegades here. And then ents, it's easy for ents. So, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you think I'm an idiot, leave a comment. If you think I'm right on this, leave a comment. Either way, I really appreciate all your support, and I'm excited for this major. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.